Hi, this is where two or three are gathered. We're glad you could join us.
This is a safe space for real, honest conversations about life, faith, doubt, joy, and everything in between.
So, come as you are and stay as long as you like. We hope you enjoy the conversation. And we are back. We're back recording another episode.
Feels like it's like a while between takes, huh?
Genuinely, because the week that we recorded the last one, we uploaded that same week.
Yeah.
And I thought it was like 3 weeks.
Same.
It's been 2 weeks. So I guess, hey, how have the last 2 weeks been?
Solid. Hectic, busy at work, but a lot of good things. Nothing out of the ordinary, I suppose.
Okay. Yeah, for me, it's the most part of the last 2 weeks have been good. It's just sickness in the family, which was just difficult to deal with for a bit. Because, like, with me staying by myself currently, and being away from my family for like the first time, I guess it's the first time that we've been separated like this. Having a family member not feeling well, it's like, okay, how do we deal with this now? Do I need to go see people? How are they going to be feeling in a while? But we thank God, through prayers of yourself and other people that I had told, at least we are out of the woods with that. And I was actually kind of worried about that when we were going to get into this episode, as I was like, if this sickness goes on, how am I going to be when we actually record? But I'm glad God is like, there's a message that needs to be shared. We need to talk about masculinity. And now we can discuss that freely without me having too many things to worry about.
Which is good, bro. I'm glad. I'm glad.
So what are we talking about today?
So, I don't know. I was thinking about a title for it, but I kind of just stuck with what it is, which is being a man. Like, and what is that? Faith, pressure, purpose. And I guess we'll go into like a lot of other stuff as well. Stuff. So I was kind of like writing notes for this because I was like really like trying to be in the bag. But as I was going in, I was like, you know what? I'm thinking about so many things myself. Like I've been met with like so many questions myself by just, trying to like have ideas for this podcast. And I just said, let's just let it flow as always. Just keep it very raw, which I think has worked. By the way, decent viewings for the first episode. I'm glad.
That's actually very true. The support has. I didn't expect so much support.
Same. I thought like we'd probably get 100 views max. I was like,
it's been amazing. Like across all the platforms, seeing the engagement and all that jazz. So we will be making sure that we put out a lot more content so that you have things to see. We're planning stuff. I mean, we will both like have a 9 to 5, so. It gets kind of difficult to constantly be doing this and planning, but it's the work of the Lord. The Lord will make a way, and we will have more episodes.
100%. Okay, so to start us off, I just thought we can go back and forth and just obviously butt in when you feel like it. But the first thing I thought, the question I think I posed to you was, what is one thing that no one told you about what being a man is? No one told you.
I got that question, right? And I've been trying to think about like, what's one thing that no one told me about being a man? And as I was like trying to think about it, I was like, have I been told anything about being a man? Because generally speaking, like a one-on-one sit down and someone is like, okay, CJ, you are no longer a boy. You're a man and this is what's expected of you. I'm not so sure. But one thing that I've realized the older that I've gotten is that if you are a man who is aware of his own emotions, a man who is aware that he can be sad, he can be happy, a man who is willing to show affection, I think especially in the African community, sometimes people will look at you and be like, what's up with that? Why are you that way? Why
Yeah.
you're soft?
Mm,
You're not a
mm.
real
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
A man does not get sad. A man
A
does
man is
not
not
cry.
soft.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So for me,
Yeah.
it's been something. And when I was like a bit younger, maybe my late teens, early 20s, I used to struggle with that because I'm like, I feel affectionate. I love showing people affection, but then it's kind of frowned upon out there. So I'm
There's like a
like,
stigma
do
almost.
I
Yeah.
need to stop doing this? Do I double down? What's going on? So
Mm,
that's definitely one thing that's been a bit of a sticking point for me when it
mm,
comes to being a man. Yeah.
yeah. No, I like that. I think mine was kind of similar to that, because I feel like as a guy, that transition to you becoming a young man or whatever, you kind of get the sense that you have to have it figured out, but no one actually is telling you what you need to figure out and like who you're responsible over, like nothing. You kind of just expected to know and like have a clear thing, and I think it's a bit unfortunate. I think you see a lot of the time that conversation only comes when as a young guy you mess up
Yeah.
and then you
Yeah.
find that conversation coming. So for me already it's not even coming from the right place. It's kind of coming from like oh, you messing up, you need to fix this and you need to fix that. And yet I feel like going in like thinking about the study and stuff, I was like, how many like conversations should be had before you grow
mess
into
up.
some of these roles, and then before that, how many mistakes can be avoided
Bruh.
just by having a simple conversation to know that it's okay to feel this, or you are responsible for this. Like, here's guidance. This is what the Bible says. This is what has helped me. This is, do you know what I'm saying?
Funny enough, like
Yeah.
I'm thinking about all of the churches that I've been in. I guess I can only say it's been like one church, like one home church, but I've been able to visit and know how like different Adventist churches are running. And we have what AMO, Adventist men's organization,
Yeah, yeah,
something like
yeah.
that. I don't even
I don't
see
even know
that's
what
a
they
problem
do.
right
I don't
there.
even know what they do, to be honest.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
my thing is, we have those things, but I've never we've never had the men come to us and say, "Hey,
Yeah.
young man, let's
We
sit
just know
down."
it's there, but we don't know what it does.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, why are we not sitting down and then you guide us as young men and tell us, "Okay, guys, you're getting older. You are expected to do this. It's only like you're saying. Once you mess up,
Yeah.
once things go bad, then people are like, "Oh, as a man, you need to have done
Yeah.
this," and
Yeah.
it's like it's a bit too late for us to be having these discussions now
Yeah.
when we already have the platforms that should
Yeah.
be discussing this.
And that just adds to the, what can I say, to the problem, because you then start to feel inferior. You feel inferior as a man, but you don't even know what a man is supposed to do, and then it's a whole cycle. And I think in for the sake of vulnerability, I suppose, I think all of us have felt that way at some point,
Inferior.
where you do feel inferior as
Yeah.
a guy,
Yeah.
but it's because you not doing what's expected of you, but no one told you what's expected of you,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
which is a madness. And I think I guess we're going to go into that as well a lot. But yeah, I was really like questioning some of my own ideas and my own, toxic traits or toxic, what can I say, toxic ideas about what masculinity
Yeah.
is, or,
Yeah.
or things like that. So yeah, I think it'll be interesting.
The more we discuss like certain topics, the more I'm starting to realize what this podcast might be. I think it's pretty much deconstructing everything we know
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
reconstructing it in a different way. So
Yeah.
for us today, this is just deconstructing masculinity as you and I know it right now. Obviously, I feel like the topic of masculinity is something that has become very problematic, very controversial out there. So there'll be many different opinions out there. But and I always say, whenever I put out a project, I'm not and we are not out here to tell people what to think, to correct people. We want to
Yeah.
start conversations. So
Exactly.
I mean, we have the comment section where you can leave comments and tell us what you
Please,
think. If
please
you
do,
don't
yeah.
agree with what we've said,
Yeah.
you let us know there. But the whole point of a platform like this is just so discussions can get going, and maybe we'll say things that are completely wrong today, and we get to start a discussion with other people.
Forgive us.
Speaking of which, um, we had questions from people.
Oh wow.
We had that
Okay.
question from Instagram,
Okay.
and people got in touch
Right.
with us to let us know what they think. So a
Okay.
few people had these responses to our questions, and let me just see. We had 3 questions, right,
Right.
that we posted on Instagram, and we told people, hey, get in touch, let us know what you think on these 3 questions, and then send us a voice note, and we'll share it in the episode. So this
Yes.
was open to both men and women. I don't know why my guys weren't really responding as they should have been. It was mainly
Dude.
women who were
Dude.
responding. So there's
Yeah.
something that needs to be discussed there. But the ladies who did respond, and most of the people were just responding to the second question. And the second question was, um, what do you think our culture gets wrong about manhood?
Yeah.
So I'll play that for us, and you can hear what the first person was saying, and then we can jump off of what she said.
Besides talking about money and provision, money wise too, like providing money, paying the bills, what else does manhood mean to both men and female? I think there's a lot of confusion with women where they expect a man to provide financially. It's all about the money. And then you get someone that does, but you still feel empty. Kutisaka, there must be more that you need from a man that's beyond money, but women are being taught to just look for just that. And unfortunately, once you are in marriage, for example, you find that your life is too empty, you know? And then even the men themselves, apart from, in terms of having relationships with women or with their fellow men, actually, it's all centered around money and finances. Zvekutoti kana musiri kuflexerana ka, sometimes you actually don't know why your boy is your boy if you're not talking about money, you know? And even with relationships, dating or even marriage, if you get a woman who can equally provide, men don't know what to do with themselves. And that's when you find the whole, hey, men are challenged when they find a woman that's successful, yada, 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 because then they feel like she's taking my spot. So why do I need to be here? So these are all internal conflicts that the society is having. So women and men are both struggling with this whole what the heck is manhood or masculinity or what should men be doing in our society. And I think I would like the conversation to be beyond money. Okay, it's fine. Let's not talk about money. Let's talk about everything else besides money. What is the role of a man in the home? What is the role of a man in the community? Um, yeah, so I can give you an example of my own husband. He had some investors from America, and they came here to Zim for him. And I remember he was telling me, in fact, I then met them, but he was telling me the first conversation they had was, he was ready to talk all about the money and his ability and this and that. And they said to him, yeah, we don't want to hear about all that. We want to hear about you, your story. What's up with you? What do you like doing? What's your family like? Do you have a wife? Do you have kids? Like, They wanted to know who he is at core. Nothing to do with his money and his things, you know. And he was like, huh, that was so different and refreshing because, you know, varume pavanosangana, or usually it ends up being like a flex game. So, anyway, I'm just giving an example of men genuinely don't even know what to do with themselves apart from proving a point on finances. So, yeah.
And this voice note,
Wow.
as you can hear, and it's very true. And I think it's
Mm.
also why, like you're mentioning, where you'll feel that inferiority thing,
Yeah.
especially when you get to our age where we now have jobs
Yeah.
and we're looking for certain things, we're trying to move forward in our lives. Money becomes the be all and end all.
Yeah.
You're going to look for a life partner, you're going to flash money.
Mm.
You're with your friends, oh, this is what I have, this is the phone that I have, this is the car that I have, this is where I'm staying, this is what I can do.
Yeah.
And it's that thing of what do you bring to the table?
Mm.
That's pretty much all that a man is about at this point.
Yeah.
And that's, I guess, it's something that no one ever really tells you about, that you kind of, as a
Mm.
man, that sometimes that's all you see as.
Yeah.
What can you bring to the table? Which I think
Mm.
generally is a problem. Because actually saying is, okay, now you've brought something to the table.
No.
What else?
Yeah.
Because
No.
money can only get you so far. It will only do so much.
Yeah.
What then?
Yeah.
Where's the depth in your
Yeah.
character?
And I think that's like what you're saying. That's one thing, especially as working young men. I think that's one of the biggest reality checks that hits you. Like the minute you start working, and you kind of do feel that inferiority where you like, I am I'm only going to be a solid gent until I'm earning X amount.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I think it even seeps into relationships as well. I think besides the fact that our culture is one of like being flashy and that sort of thing, I think sometimes even as a guy you can even assume things that maybe you might even assume that this girl is thinking this. Meanwhile, it's just your own insecurity, you know and it's financially related. You know what I'm saying? You might be at a place where, okay, I can't afford to do this, can't afford to do that, and you might be in like beating yourself up internally, over things that maybe you're with a good girl who doesn't even like she's not worried about that stuff. But I think because the culture dictates that real men have nice cars and real men have nice watches and real men have lots of money and can do this and can do that. It takes away from so many other things that a real man should be. And I think, I'm sure you've been in different circles where you with guys with money.
Yeah.
But sometimes you listen to the conversation and you like, wow.
Yeah.
This is, if this is what a real man is, then
This is not
like
the
I
place.
don't.
I am not a real man.
Yeah. Like
Count me out.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Count me out. So it's so interesting, and that was thank you for that. That was a really good contribution. Yeah. I don't know. I got one as well.
Yeah. Let's hear
I can
that.
play for us.
With our culture, we've always expected men to be strong both physically and emotionally. And it's from a young age because boys are often told, like, man up, grow up, rub some dirt on it, and move on. And I think it creates a bit of like unrealistic expectations that can kind of lead to quote unquote toxic masculinity, where like vulnerability is kind of seen as a weakness instead of courage as such. And like you can see it with a lot of like our culture now, there's a lot of, I know it's horrible to talk about, but a lot of suicides and that kind of a thing. Like I know I had a friend maybe 2 years ago. Gosh, it's already 2 years. It's crazy how fast time moves. But like you wouldn't have even thought he was like the happiest, like strongest person out there. So it just makes you realize how dangerous it is when like people don't feel safe to like share their pain and their vulnerability because of the expectations like associated with manhood. Culturally, there's a lot of pressure for men to like bottle things up. I know mental health awareness is like slowly improving. Yeah, it's quite crazy. And like even relating it, I guess, to faith, you could see that like Jesus was a very strong individual, but also like gentle and compassionate at the same time. And I think manhood would, the best way to kind of shift would be to allow for space of like both strength and softness to exist um, concurrently and coherently, if that makes sense.
So that I like the things that she discussed
Yeah.
about men being expected to be strong.
Mm.
I find myself very lucky that I've grown up in a home where even my father is not a man who's like, hey, you need to be a man, you fall, hey, get back up. You know, he wasn't like that. My mother wasn't like that. My sister wasn't like that. They obviously raised me up to be a man, but not in a toxic way that suppresses just humanity in me. And unfortunately, that's not the case for everyone out there, because a lot of people are expected to just be tough, and it's it stunts a lot of people's emotional growth. And to be honest, I think, and listen, this is just my own opinion. Okay, just put a disclaimer out. This is just my own opinion. It's not scientific.
Yeah.
But I think that is why, the common saying that, oh, women mature faster than men. I think it's because women are allowed to be in touch with their emotional side.
Yeah.
So they get to grow with their emotions. But as guys, we are told to suppress these things. And if you don't deal with something, you won't grow, you won't be able to understand it. And you get to your 30s, 40s, and you find men who are still behaving like little kids.
Yeah.
Because they're now trying to figure out their emotions, because they have a little kid running around in the house and they don't know how to deal with these emotions. But it's because as the person was growing up, they weren't allowed
To
oh,
express.
I'm hurt. I need to cry. You hurt, you told, hey, just carry on with life. But it really is a problem. And I actually wanted to know, because it's something that we had discussed earlier, but like, how was your upbringing as a man with you? And it's only brothers in your house, right?
Yeah.
So it's just guys. How were you raised?
So I think I'm pretty sure you know this, but our dad passed away, early teens. So but also just to note before that, I think he, from what the experience I had with him, the years I had with him, I think he wasn't, that typical like hardcore like what you're saying, which is good. So from earlier years, the experience we had, like affection and stuff was something that's very like a common thing, and that's that's how we were raised. And then growing up without a dad, we were like fortunate enough to have like a lot of strong male figures around us. So I think from that side of things, like there was we were shown those manly traits.
Yeah.
Not in a toxic way, but you know in the right amounts, I would say. Because I think as a man, there is still that element where you need to be solid. You need to be the backbone of you need to be the backbone of your family, or of the spaces that you're in. You definitely need to be that. But I think then growing up with my mom and my mom raising us by herself, my mom is not the softest. Those who know my mom, she's not soft. She raised us like pretty stern. But when it came to the emotional side, she was so good with us as well. And I think the three of us were all very different in the way we expressed ourselves. And I think she never for a second like closed us off or didn't allow us to express how we felt. But I do think that, just to go off what we were speaking about earlier and what the comment that was made now about this thing of physical and emotional strength. I think it's something that hit me when I was, when I was just thinking about the topic, and I realized that I also, in my own mind internally, I also expected myself to be emotionally strong all the time, which is hectic. Which is hectic. I don't think anyone can do that,
No.
And I think you see it come up in moments where you feel really sad about something or upset. You kind of almost like beating yourself up for even feeling that way, which is
Yeah.
which is hectic. Which is hectic. In relationships, I think it also goes into relationships where you you sometimes feel things and you maybe want to be vulnerable and even have a partner that allows you to be vulnerable, but then you kind of almost like don't know if you should, because you view it as like a weakness,
That's not a
like
man.
it's
That's
not a
what
manly
man
thing, and
does,
and
yeah.
and it even can go a step further into an insecurity where you think, what will she think of me?
Yep.
Will she view me as a weak guy or this and that, or what will my family view me as if they see me cry, or if they see my emotional side? Like, so I think these are things that, um, yeah, they really impact us a
I
lot,
think
a
what
lot.
I've noticed, and this is like a life philosophy of mine. Don't even know if that's the right word, but we'll run that. And it's actually something that one of my lecturers said, and we were discussing this in terms of architecture. So someone asked, like in terms of like modern architecture versus like no minimalism versus like maximalism in terms of architecture. Like, why are things so minimal right now, but in the past they were like very maximalist or whatever? Now lecturers said the problem is that as people we tend to do things in extremes. So during the Victorian era, things were very decorative. Houses were just a lot.
Yeah.
Now we've gone the complete opposite, and everything is just minimal. I find that to be the same in every aspect of our lives. As humans, we just don't know how to find middle ground.
Yeah.
Like, it's either a man is told to be too strong, don't deal with emotions, don't do this, don't do that. Or on the other hand, as a man, you just now allow everything to happen to you.
Yeah.
I had that problem in a previous relationship where I was like, I've heard these stories about how women are treated by men and how they're hurt and how horrible men can be to women. So I was thinking to myself, you know what? I need to be the good guy for this girl.
Yeah.
And I will be her safe space. And I will allow her, like, if she makes a mistake, it's just a mistake.
Yeah.
We'll deal with it.
Yeah.
And then I realized to myself, why am I bearing the burden of other people when other people have messed up? Now I'm trying to correct their mistakes.
Yeah.
I can't do that. All I can do, all I am responsible over, is my actions. And I need to figure out what is the best version of CJ as a man, and how do I do that? Not to try and deal with all of this girl's exes and fix all of their mistakes.
Yeah.
That's not my job.
Yeah.
To be honest, I'm not Jesus.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not fixing people's sins
Exactly.
for them.
Yeah.
And speaking of Jesus, perfect segue. When I was reading the notes, I was amazed, and I think he even touched up on it. I don't know if it was the last episode or in our own discussions, where you used Jesus as a perfect example of a man. And for me, when I think of, like, when you ask me, oh, what's your perfect example of a man? Or most people in the Bible will be like, oh, you have David, he was a great king.
Yeah.
You have Samson, he was strong. You have Solomon, many wives. Those kinds of things.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
what we expect
Yeah.
as a true man. Then you say Jesus. Jesus wasn't even in a relationship.
Dude, and sorry even to interrupt you, but when you talk about that balance, because when I was going through it, I was like, you view a lot of these men you mentioned, David, Samson, all of these guys, Moses. These are strong guys, physically, emotionally. These guys are strong.
Yeah.
But then when you look at Jesus, perfect balance. Balance.
Like, Jesus feels so calming.
Yeah.
So comforting.
Balanced. And I was like, wow. Like, a lot of times in my mind, I'm striving for the strength only. Do you know what I'm saying?
True.
honestly, I'm just gonna be like, nah, like, financially strong, emotionally strong, physically like strong, like, and yet, yeah, you see Jesus, someone that's so calm, so peaceful, but at the same time, the Bible talks about him speaking with authority.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? That those are characteristics that a
Have you,
strong man
have
has.
you have you ever been in a room with a man who commands attention? He
Yeah.
commands the room, and I feel like, yo, I always think about this whenever I envision Jesus in my mind. I'm like, hey, I might be wrong, but I don't Jesus. I don't see Jesus as like this buff guy. Sure, he worked with wood, so he was probably a bit toned. But being out in the wilderness, not eating for 40
Yeah,
days,
yeah,
you're not
yeah.
gonna you're not gonna be a big guy. So I picture Jesus as lean built. I'd imagine his robes wore him. They weren't
Yeah,
slim
yeah,
fit.
yeah.
So he gets into a room and people are like, "Who's this guy? Who's this incompetent guy? What's he doing here?" Then, like it says, like he speaks with authority.
Yeah.
So you realize that it's not about what's on the outside. The character of a man
Exactly.
is what
Yeah.
takes things from here to there. Because for him to just go up to random fishermen who are on the job, like, let go of that. Follow
And I mean,
me.
fishermen are tough guys.
They're tough guys. And
Yeah.
it's like, leave that. I'll teach you how to be fishers
And
of
just
men.
like that.
And they're like, let's go.
Yeah.
What a
Yeah.
guy. What a
Yeah.
guy, man.
That's so good. And like going into the character, I think, like you say, a lot of the times, there's people that command the room for different reasons.
Yeah.
There's guys who come in and they loud and they rowdy and they, I don't know, flashy. I don't know what you want to say, but maybe actually the girls would know more about this, but like then there's other people, there's other gents that in your life, or other men in your life, who you say, nah, that's a solid guy. You know what I'm saying? He might not be like physically like strong or anything like that, but the way he speaks, the things he speaks about, you know what I'm saying? The way he treats people around him. So yeah, I think as we go into this next section, we'll see, from the example himself, Christ, different scriptures that can help us. So the first thing I saw, speaking about Christ as the example, the first thing that I think that hit me was to do with emotion. And one thing that's consistent is that he felt deeply and expressed it honestly, which I think that thing of expressing, I think feeling is a bit easier. You can feel whether in private or whatever, or with friends that you trust, whatever. But I think expressing
How you feel.
exactly honestly, and also in the right way, because a lot of the time, I mean, how many guys when they feel anything, they just want to punch. Like, do you know what I'm saying? Like, it's so it's all of these things. So if you can go to me, John 11:35, easy verse, we all know it, the two-liner.
John chapter 11, verse 35. And that specific verse reads, Jesus wept. Jesus.
Yeah,
Yeah.
crazy. I don't know if any man has told you you're allowed to cry, CJ.
It's only nowadays you meet these liberal men
Yeah.
who have become soft, who are like, it's okay to cry. It's necessary as a man. But it's, when I look at the Bible and you come across some of these verses and you ask yourself, was it even necessary for you to write this? And you come across a verse like this, it's like, Jesus wept. Why are you writing these two words? What's the importance of it? And generally speaking, we're discussing it now. We're realizing the importance of Jesus was a man who felt, sure, but he expressed it. And I love this specific one. And it's not the only time that Jesus gets mentioned weeping as well. One of the times that he's also mentioned weeping, and that one sticks out to me the most, is when he's overlooking Jerusalem. This was like just nearing the end of his ministry, I guess. And he's weeping over them because he's realizing that he's done all he can, and they've still rejected him, and he can't do more than what he's already done, and he cries over his people. And to me, it exemplifies the heart of Jesus. That he's a man who
cares?
who exactly he cared so much for his people that when he saw that, because to be honest with you, it's not like, yes, he'll be missing out on our presence in heaven, but God himself still remains God even without us there. But he cares about our condition so much that he's willing to cry over us, and he cries over us seeing the state we're in. But as a man, it's like you see people going through stuff and you feel indifferent to it. Exactly. You feel indifferent to how people's situations are. I mean, there's a lot of men in homes who don't care about the state of their family as long as they get what they want. Which truly is sad. And like, still for me, I keep being amazed by this example of the perfect man, Jesus.
A lot of the times you find that even men that are doing that to their families is because they are victim of their own fathers and grandfathers and so on and so forth, and it's a cycle that's so toxic.
I was saying to myself
it's
that
so toxic.
It's so necessary to heal because you see so many men nowadays, men in positions of leadership, men with power in countries and communities and all of that. But these men are haunted by the traumas of a 6-year-old kid. And it's like you've been carrying this thing for decades. You never got to deal with it, and it's dragging you down as a man in your grown state. Whereas if you had just gotten the opportunity to just sit down with it, feel it, but also express it, because a lot of men are feeling the pain, but they don't know how to express it,
or they don't have a safe space to express it.
They really don't have a safe space.
And I think that's why it's important, that it's not just about the men, but I think even for any like women that are watching, like I think you also need to ask yourself some of these questions, like the men in your spaces, like do they feel safe? Have you given that safe space, or even ask yourself, like we asking ourselves, what is a man? What are my expectations of a man? Do you know what I'm saying? For the different men in your life, whether it's your brother, whether it's your parents, whether it's whoever it may be, because these are the things we need to think about. I think that we need to be aware of, and because
to kind of, I think one thing I like doing, I like making sure that both sides are represented.
Exactly.
Sure enough, the ladies, like, if men need safe spaces, if you can offer that, offer it. Other problem that a lot of us guys have nowadays, you see someone offer themselves as a safe space, and you're like,
you take
perfect
advantage.
opportunity. Let me go straight into that, and you ruin it for the rest of us. You ruin the image for all guys out there, and it becomes a problem where now it's, oh, we can't lend an ear to a guy because then the guy
they have ulterior
motives. And everyone gets put under that same banner when that really isn't the case. I was just thinking about Jesus now. How many women did he have to come across who were like, help me? And if he was a toxic man,
so true. And I think, like, I thought about that as well in a big way, and we probably will touch on it, like, on probably for another episode. But just that itself, that concept of guys being like that, where there's they have to go for anything that moves.
Anything with this guy.
I think even that, a lot of the times, it's just one of the things that guys are compensating for a lack of. Do you know what I'm saying? The validation that they receive from, these girls, or not even so much that. Let me not even say that. Let me even say from other guys.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like, dapping them up for, hey, like, you got with this girl and you got with that girl and you got, like, I think for the sake of being honest, I think as kids, there's a phase where you kind of go through where it's cool to be like when if girls like you. You know what I'm saying? It is 100% like you like, nah, I'm the guy or whatever. But I think a lot of the times it's a bit sad when guys don't get over that. And we see it, and it doesn't discriminate age, because this goes right people into their 60s, 70s till they die, still chasing, and you like, there's something there.
People
and
are still looking for validation, like you're saying that.
Mm.
It's that thing of that little kid
Yeah.
that was traumatized. Maybe the kid didn't get validation from parents. The kid didn't get love, and then you get one small smidget of attention, and then you keep chasing that again and again. And I think when we when we keep going through the same behaviors and someone calls out on it, like, we need to listen, because we can't keep being told the same thing by different people and think that they are all the problem. It's not the case. There's one common factor in all of this, and it's you. And you're being called out for the same thing. So look at that specific issue, go deal with it, and we can take it from there.
Yeah, and like you say, that knowledge is power, bro. Knowledge is power. There's something I wanted to say. No, I forgot. Yeah, it will come to me. Yeah, it will come.
But your way. I also had there was something that was mentioned by one of our pastors. Yes, I think of validation. Like, where are you getting your validation from? And like you're saying, we're all looking for validation from, did my guy see what I'm able to do? And it was actually something that was mentioned in one of the voice notes, that you go to your boys and you have to flex on the boys, like, you see what you see the one I was with last time? Do you see the car?
Do you see her Instagram page?
Did you see the she's following me now? And close friends, that kind of thing. And it's like, okay, then what?
Exactly.
But we are not looking for validation from the right place, and that's Jesus himself.
And literally, this is what I wanted to say. And a lot of the time, that's in the public space. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like when you're with the gents, and like, when you're with a girl, and then people can see you with this girl, whatever, yeah. But people don't see when you're dealing with whatever's going on inside, and going on inside of your head.
I read this quote that said, "You choose your character in the private space. The person, the true you, is the one that is there with you in private. Not when we in church around other people, and you're wearing a suit and you're prim and proper. The true person is the one that's sitting by himself. The lights are off. What's going on up here? What are you thinking about? What decisions are you making? That's the true you."
And I think that's also why some people struggle with Jesus and Christ. I think even ourselves is because when we hold up like Jesus as the mirror, and then we compare ourselves to that, we don't like what we see. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of the time, then we now become defensive, or you know what I'm saying? And like, sometimes, unfortunately, even in church, they force you to be on the defensive, and yet that's not what God did himself. And if anything, he was saying, no, this is the standard, but I can, take you to this. So I think even as guys and stuff, regardless of the bad things you've been taught, or maybe even the bad examples, because we can't downplay that. Like I was really thinking to myself, when I was a lot younger, I used to think, why would someone do that? Like, why would you do this? Or why would you, treat a woman like that? Or why would you say things like that? And I had to genuinely look around and be like, yo, I was actually blessed enough to be around guys who have issues, but they also have really good things that have shaped me in a certain way. But how many guys actually have that?
Very few.
Close to none.
Very few.
Close to none. And then you ask yourself, someone can feel damaged, someone can feel like they're missing something, someone can feel like they need to change. But then when they look around, everyone else is like that. So who
Yeah.
helps who?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's the blind leading the blind. In that case, no one's found it. We all just lost trying to figure it out. And then add on top of that, you can't be vulnerable. So you can't speak about it. So you can't even vent. And then instead of venting now, you turn to these other things. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Women, partying, gambling, drugs, alcohol. Like, and then it's just,
The
you know,
cycle
and the
goes
devil
on.
just laughs. And
Li-
it's like,
like,
you know,
guys,
again.
when we talk about the devil,
Yeah.
we think of this guy who was calling us to go steal. This guy was telling us to go kill. He's telling us to draw a pentagram on the floor, get candles, and be doing chants, and we're like, that's doing the devil's bidding.
Yeah.
Just not being content with your life is
him.
feeding into what the devil wants.
Yeah.
Just this whole thing of us being like at war with women, pretty much,
Yeah,
is the
that's another
devil's
angle,
bidding.
yeah.
And it's social media is a perfect place to see exactly what the devil is up to, because a simple video by a guy and you'll find the comments, hey, men, why are men like this? Why are men like that? And you'll find men doing the same thing. Why are women like this? The devil looks at that and is like, we're good. This
And
is
then he just lets
exactly
it
what we
run.
want. Yeah, he will
He
let
just
it
lets it
run.
run,
And he's happy. And we're thinking, no, only when we see that there's a cult, then we're like,
then
that's
him. Yeah. No.
Nah,
It's in the
much
small
smarter
stuff.
than that. Yeah.
It's in the small stuff. And yeah. So I think just moving on to another aspect. I mean, I think we've touched quite a lot on emotion and compassion and you know, all of these things. I think one that I think we could speak about is also pressure and maybe anxiety. And the part of scripture that came up was just before Jesus is about to be crucified. Popular story, we know he goes with his three closest friends into the garden to pray. Right. Firstly, his friends abandoned. So in that moment they weren't solid friends. But then we see him praying, and I mean, I can imagine the pressure he felt because the mission he had to do. Let's just be real. No guy will ever have to endure something that severe, especially when it's not even your fault. Like, I think that's another
And
thing.
on top of that, I think, yo, I'm thinking about it now, and I'm like, that situation with Jesus is crazy, because he knows what's about to happen to him, but he knows the hearts of everyone who has ever been and who will ever be. All of that is on his heart in that very moment.
And some of those people will hate him forever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, nah, listen, God, come on. Let this cup pass me by. Not my will. Your will be done. But hey, if it can pass me, please.
Exactly. So I think, as for me, as a guy, I was thinking about that, and I was like, you know what? It's actually okay to feel anxious. It's okay to be like, hey, this is a lot, you know, because there's the example there. You know, Christ was very honest about how he felt. But we see once again a real man, duty, you know, responsibility over feeling. And that's why emotions are good. They have their place, but responsibility also has its place. And I think, you know, as guys, I think that's what should also be the defining thing as men who, you know, we're not married, but I think as men who lead homes, who are going to lead homes in future, I think there is an element of that where God requires us to firstly know our responsibility. And secondly, be able to, regardless of how it looks around, regardless of even how you're feeling sometimes, be able to, you know, carry out your responsibility in such a way that inspires leadership and inspires others to follow you. Because, you know, at the end of the day, that's what real men should be like. So, you know, those are just some of the things. And in closing, I saw a verse from James 1, verse 19, which I think was dope. because it just sums up, kind of what we should expect.
So you say James chapter 1,
James
verse
1
19.
19, yeah.
So then, my beloved brethren, let every man be swift to hear, slow to speak, slow to wrath. For the wrath of man does not produce the righteousness of God.
Yeah.
And James, what a book. I think that's definitely one of my favorite books of the Bible. And again, there's another one where I love the fact that you're bringing this up in these topics of in this topic of masculinity, because for me, I read this and I'm like, oh yeah, it's just a guide on like just how to live as a person. But when you read it in the context of manhood, man, it's almost like praised if you are a man and you are
vocal.
Angry.
Yeah.
And you're like, nah, me, I get angry quick.
Yeah, I don't stand for anything.
I'll take care of it then and there.
Yeah.
But what does God think about it?
Quick to listen,
Sure.
slow to speak.
And the thing is, a lot of people, they listen to respond. They don't listen to understand. So you have people, we're having a discussion, but you can tell a person, the moment they respond, it's like, yeah, you've just been waiting to say something. But you weren't understanding what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And like it's saying, none of that produces the righteousness of God. But I mean, it's not a big deal to a lot of us, because not a lot of us care about the righteousness of God in the first place. I will be quick to be angry. I won't listen to you and all that. Righteousness of God for what?
For who?
Exactly, for who?
Yeah. No, dope. So at least, we've learned, like, don't be afraid, gents, to express yourself. But I think the next thing that we're going to go into is tying in with this, which I think is difficult, and I think hopefully will help someone. Well, we hope. And that's being able to be vulnerable, but amongst the right people. And like, we're going to go into this thing of brotherhood and real friendship.
Funny enough, you bring that up,
Yeah.
because it then makes me think of who Jesus decided to go up with when it was time to pray. He had 12 disciples. Why would he pick those specific ones? And I would imagine when they fall asleep, I guess Jesus is like, maybe I made the wrong decision. But he must have seen something in them where he's like, okay, let me go with these ones specifically. And even today, we have, maybe I am just the one who hasn't been fortunate, but I haven't had for a very long time a good circle of guys around me that I can really like rely on. My closest male friends, and this is like, God and I have a bone to pick on this. My closest friend always move far away. And I'm like, why are we doing this? So now because at times you need just people in your presence. So I haven't had that pretty much up until when I came here, then I actually met you guys. And now I've realized just how good it is to have like a real brotherhood around you. People who you don't really listen. When I tell your things, I don't care what you think about me. Because I know you have the best interests at heart for me when you give advice. We'll make fun of situations, but we're also looking for a solution. And I think that is so helpful for so many people, but so many people don't have that. They really don't have that. They don't have people who they can rely on and be vulnerable with, because one, we don't get taught as men to be vulnerable with other men, because why are you being like that? Why are you being a sissy? But once you realize, and once you have that group that allows you to be vulnerable, to say, I tried this out, it didn't work out. I wanted to do this, it didn't work out. I feel sad about it. Then people are like, no, it's cool. We move, we carry on. We can help us. We can do this. We can do this. We can help.
just going into this, like you say, um, having people around you where you're not scared to be yourself, because I think our society firstly has this culture of everyone wants to be popular, and for the sake of being popular, you will do whatever the group says. Do you know what I'm saying? Or for even if it's not a group thing, what's trending on Instagram? Like, I'm gonna fashion my page to what gets likes and like what's gonna give me the most comments and like what's gonna give me airtime and clout and all these things. I think we're all victim of that to some degree, but more specifically, like when it comes to like brotherhoods or friendship circles, and I think this can apply to the girls as well, is that you kind of get a sense that loyalty supersedes everything. Like it supersedes. You can be with the most toxic friends, but you have to be loyal to them. You have to be loyal. Doesn't matter what this person is doing. Doesn't matter what they're dragging you into. But you get this thing of like loyalty is everything. And please don't get me wrong. I'm not advocating you should dump your friends and that sort of thing. But I think we definitely have to be wise when we're choosing our friends or choosing who we spend time with. Because that has a direct influence.
Harmless as a dad.
Yeah, that has a direct influence on I want to say the person you become, but even more so into the marriage that you'll have, the children you'll raise. Like, people can look at us and say, nah, you guys are being too deep. But it really does. It really does. Like in doing this stuff, like I saw this verse that I hadn't read for the longest time, Corinthians 15:33. And it says, don't be fooled. In other words, don't be stupid. Then it goes on to say, bad company corrupts good character. So even if you're not like perfect or you're not in the place that you want to be, even the good things that you have that are part of your character will be corrupted. And it's saying, do not be foolish. Like this will happen. It's not saying, oh, it might corrupt. No, it's saying it will corrupt. So I think these are some of the things we need to think about. And I think as we go through the journey of life, I mean, we all change. Like we weren't always reading our Bibles and like super solid in the faith and everything. But as you do change and you want to be better, a better man, a better person, whatever, these things, you need to think about these things. You really do, because
like you were saying just now, that we will, people can be, you take me, it's too deep now. Yeah, but it really is, unfortunately, from
whether you accept it or not.
Whether you accept it or not, from the moment that the serpent came into the garden and Adam and Eve ate of that fruit, it got deep.
It got deep.
It really got deep, because God was like, oh, I made Eve a helper for Adam, and the two of them, one they will be good friends. They will be a good community. Men and women will be in harmony, and they will be there to help each other in this thing of life that God had designed.
Look at where we are now.
Then the serpent comes through and it's like, I don't like this design. Let's switch things up a little bit. Let's mess it up and see how that goes. And like you're saying, look at where we are now, and men and women, for no apparent reason, you won't even know this person. But just because they are a man, you're like, men are trash. And I'm like, I'm just trying to live.
I'm just a guy.
You see a woman and she looks good, and you're like, that one is probably a heartbreaker. She's done nothing to you. But it's just the devil who is just trying to make sure that we don't accomplish what God wants us to be, and for us to just dwell in unity. A verse literally says, look how beautiful and pleasant it is for brethren to dwell in unity. That's all God wants. Just people being in unity.
And the flip side of that, we go to another verse that says, can two people walk together unless they're in agreement?
Yep.
Do you know what I'm saying?
There's no agreement anymore.
There's no agreement. So you say it's damaging relationships between men and women. It's damaging friendships between, men groups and women groups. And here's the guy here: we need to be moving in a similar direction. Again, I want to emphasize this: don't just leave your friend. Like if you see them on a certain path, like that's a bad path. But I think it should spark something in you to be like, you know what? Instead of just participating or keeping quiet, which so many gents do, like so many guys will see their friends cheating on their girlfriends or something, and like you may feel, and you yourself may not be a cheater at all.
Yeah.
You may be like, that's bad. But a lot of the times, will you actually say something?
Like, none of
They'll
my
just be like,
business.
yo, my homie's wild, and you just leave it like that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So instead of just keeping quiet or participating, which is, is bad, but I think even just trying to help them. And then it goes back to the compassion thing. Do you feel anything? Like when you see your friends doing these things,
Yeah.
or when you see your brothers doing these things, or when you see the men in your life encountering these things or going through these cycles, do you just look at them and say, oh, what a disgrace of a man? Or are you actually actively saying, okay, let me see how this guy needs help. Let me ask him if he needs help.
I'm thinking about something right now,
Yeah.
which I kind of just need to get off my chest. It's not something actually, but it's just a thoughts that I keep having, and I haven't written it down anywhere, but I feel like I'll forget it one day.
Yeah.
Social media, like people are so quick to just comment on people, like on comment sections, I don't even know if this episode that's just not go out there. And you see someone do something that I know, like the common example is like the way someone dresses. Like say maybe it's someone from church and they have an issue with the way a person is dressed. They will be so quick to bash that person on the comment section so publicly instead of going to someone privately and sitting them down and saying, yo, let's fix this. And I guess, yeah, it does relate in that way, as in a brotherhood, you see your boy messing up. You can either, on one extreme, you either go quiet. On the other extreme, you will disgrace this person in public. But what you're meant to be doing is going to that person in private, sitting down, discussing and saying, yo, it's not okay what you're doing.
Yeah.
Let's fix it. Let's not do this, And that's, I mean, there's verses about it, like going and counseling each other, iron sharpening iron, that type of thing.
Sharpening iron,
It is necessary for us to be sitting down and addressing so many issues which we have allowed to just carry on for so long, because
That's
it's
just how
just
it
who
is.
we are. I'm a man. I'm just a human being.
That's just
I
how
make
society
mistakes.
is. So, yeah.
But yeah, I think there's a lot.
Yeah.
There's a lot to this, and obviously we're just two guys, so it's very biased. This is what we've experienced.
Yeah.
But we will definitely have a follow-up of this discussion on masculinity.
100%.
But for that next one, we definitely want to have ladies on this with us, so that we can hear their opinions, the things that they've had to endure, and maybe even if they have advice for us as guys as well, because we can't be advising ourselves the whole time when maybe we are the problem, and then it's just the blind leading the blind.
Yeah.
So again, we repeat, this podcast is a platform for us to have a discussion. We are deconstructing everything that we've known so that we can build it up together in a better way.
Yep.
So the comment section is our home. It's where we get to discuss everything we've said.
Please.
If we've said anything wrong, let's discuss it there. Pray for us. We pray for you. We pray for each other so that we can actually get better. Right now, we're trying to become better men so that this thing of toxic men and this culture that has been built up to this very moment can finally come to an end. Yeah.
Couldn't have said it better.
Yeah.
Thanks, bro.
So, thank you very much, everyone, for tuning in to this episode of With 2 or 3 at Cabot. We hope you enjoyed the episode.
We'll see you guys next time.
Yeah, we'll see you guys next time. Take care.